Nigel, I'm going to head out.
So I just is he doing that video?
He videos everything. No, he's doing that because that's all.
Yeah, look at that event.
But I know these guys.
First, the strategy should be trying to encourage people through pricing mechanisms and what have you, step by step. And the issue. So I hope we can, look at that as well.
Thank you, John. We've got Carol in the corner, and then we're going to move on from Nick.
Coming at this car share at a different angle because I actually kept car share quite regularly with friends. And years ago, before I started doing this, I didn't know I like to go somewhere and be free to do this here. Anyway, I started car sharing different people. If you're going somewhere, I think it begins with you can talk about apps, but it begins with the individual. What about you? Do you car share? I do it. And anyway, I started doing it, and it saves on money. It's nice not to drive. Whoever feels like driving, it's economical. And actually, I really enjoy it now. And if I'm going anywhere, or I know there's different people, I'm quite happy to give people lifts. The other thing as well is, which I'd like to say, I do find it a bit strange that somebody will drive and pick somebody up from the bus stop because I think I see no purpose because a person is getting on the bus. Unless you know them, they're actually using transport. So what's the purpose of that? So maybe, okay, you can talk about apps and all this kind of stuff, but it's do it yourself because I really enjoy it. You get to know people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
There is an argument though, but I understand that people, you need a scheduled bus service so people know where they are, but it's better to have an electric taxi, for example, picking you up than it is a bus that runs on diesel for the environment in terms of fossil fuel.
Yeah, but if somebody's waiting for a bus...
Well, it saves them money and it doesn't cost you any more, so I think it
doesn't make any difference to
transport. No, it's complex because it obviously undermines the bus service, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's the point is, you're talking about putting traffic on the road. If somebody's catching a bus, well, it's not making any difference.
But it might save them 10 minutes. I mean, the guy I picked up the other day was waiting on a bus route which isn't very regular, so I gave him a lift to one which was, so on a personal level it helped him.
Also, of course, we could re-encourage people to hitch as well in that very old-fashioned way. But there is this issue, the right word was what Tristan said, which is safeguarding, and I know this is a massive issue. You can look at it both ways, that people who get in the car could not be safe.
Suggestion. So, when I worked in London, I car shared with just one person, and very quickly became three of us. We were working in the same place.
Right.
And very quickly, we were paying a third of the petrol. We had a company in the morning, and you were only driving once every 3 days. And so it became better, and that went on for years. And that is a self, if you excuse the pun, fueling process. Because if you get, and that's the way to do it, you build up those communities and people work together.
This is like Carol was saying, and then you don't have a safeguarding issue because you know the people.
But the states can enable that by providing information and making it accessible, and this is the sort of thing you can do without any extra real cost at the moment. So this is happening,
just
by
talking
using
about it.
Advertising, this is successful, this is what goes on. 100 people take 300 cars off the road, 300 people take 900 cars off the road, you get there quicker, you can end up and you get into a routine. And it can work, and it's a very small island. It's not as if
we're going to get to know each other soon enough anyway. It's so easy to get to know people in Jersey. Yes, Kelly, one more.
So I was going to say, I think you're right from the state's policy perspective. We've been confident about investing in hard infrastructure and services, where we've been less confident as a department, because we're primarily an engineering department, but we're now starting to transition to a transport planning type department. It's been very bad at the soft stuff, so doing personal travel planning, going around to new estates and dropping off some free bus tickets to say, with a timetable, say, do you know there's a bus pass here every 10 minutes or whatever it is, here's a ticket, why don't you try it, why don't you try to break your habits? And I think that's really merits some exploration.
And that's the cultural thing that we have. We do have a cultural love for the car because of the convenience. It was interesting at the plastics talk last night, and it's just convenience. The problem we have with plastics in our environment is because not only the underlying economic profit motive, which was there, the reason plastic started and the reason cars have become so popular, but also because it's so convenient. And I said last night, I'll say again, sometimes with state's policy, creating a little inconvenience is avoided because we're very fearful of doing that. If it's done for the right reasons, and we're getting to a crisis point. And it's not just that, it's pollution levels. It's a really hot day today. I wonder what the ozone levels were in the centre of St Helier today. I bet they were very high, and that's what should be monitored as well.
Yeah.
Because then we can give genuine risk warnings, and we may actually stop traffic moving.
Yeah.
For
The
well-being
health
of
costs of people driving everywhere are massive. Kelly's got one more, and then we're going to move on from car sharing.
One I just had from what Rob said is that the States recently, they've almost incentivised other companies to introduce a living wage by being a living wage employer themselves.
Right.
So
Yes.
what they could do is, obviously in the future, is they could start shouting out about the fact that, hey, we have all of these people coming into central town from St Brelard, St Wands, all of our constituencies. Look how many of our deputies car share. Look how many of our constables car share. And they can then shout from the rooftops that, look, we're doing it, you can do it too. And
also,
almost incentivise the companies themselves to set up car sharing schemes in their own companies.
And the companies should be proud and making a noise about the car sharing that they have encouraged.
I know that the government had actually a car sharing policy, and they did that, but it was all kind of within the states and not put out to the public and not encouraging people as such to kind of do something similar. And I always found that really strange. They said, oh yeah, we're car sharing, and maybe they set an example, but nobody knew about it, you know, unless you kind of asked.
I think
If it was effectively
there's some hidden benefits that are really soft, which are, I really enjoy car sharing because it was when our children were first born, and that meant I could, for 3 days a week, have 40 minutes extra sleep in the back. And it may sound trite in the moment, but it was a very real thing for me then. And I think these are the sort of little things to promote, to get people to actually do. There are benefits, and I would suggest that you can feel good about yourself as well. We mustn't forget that. We do have a decent society here. People do care about things, and using that care as a driving force, I think, is really important. Actually, you know, I feel good about myself because I don't do that anymore. I don't, you know, I have my own insulated cup and don't, you know. Okay, I should trickle in the ocean, but you know,
It's true. There's a feel good. Okay, can we? I think we're going to have to move along, or we're not going to get through much. The next thing I've got written down here is car-free days or weeks. And I've come across this myself in London. There's a place called Seven Dials in Covent Garden. I used to live just near there. And they have car-free weekends for sure. Car-free Sundays I think it started on, and then extended to weekends. We close St Helier to motor traffic regularly for cycle racing. But we don't close, and when there is cycle racing going on, I've walked through town to go and watch a bit of it. Not that I'm terribly enthusiastic about it, but I've noticed kids playing football in the side streets and things because they can. And I think it would be wonderful if, I mean, I'm not saying car-free Ireland, but you could, a parish could say it's car-free, or town inside the ring road could say it's car-free for an afternoon, a day, a week. And if there's going to be street parties, that makes it even more fun. So have we got any thoughts and comments on that one? Yes, Carol.
One of my favourite days is Sunday because it's quieter, because I walk. Nobody mentions with transport. They don't seem to mention cars, buses, but they never mention walking. And, you know, I think that should come into the picture. So Christmas Day and when the kids aren't at school and Sundays, I really appreciate because they're quieter. It's just so much more pleasant. It just doesn't have these cars
I think you could probably tie it into bank holidays or something like that.
Yeah,
Take one bank holiday
Easter
and
holidays.
say, listen, this is going to be a car-free bank holiday. That, you know, it's whatever bank holiday. It's August bank holiday, but guess what? It's car-free day as well. So we're going to use that as a.
Would you think per parish, or would you? I mean, could we?
Maybe island-wide if we
Could
can.
we dare to do it island-wide? Maybe we should break people in by by doing it first in town, maybe in a country
Yeah, maybe
parish,
send that in first, yeah.
and then, you know, maybe some area or
And
something.
then, like you say, maybe promote it with street parties and events and music.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
you know, tie it all into that so people can identify it as a good thing, like, you know.
Lots of hand shooting at house.
I think that if you do just a parish, you're going to find that people are going to want to go to like Waitrose or Co-op, and they're just going to like go through a different parish.
They're going to have to drive out of the parish and back in or something. I know, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think Sunday is probably the best day, or a bank holiday, so that Waitrose is, or the shop, most of the shops, maybe.
Take for liberty, but
Thank you. Can I say the official policy position? Our official policy position is that what we need to do is to increase the differential between private motoring and public transport. And the way to do that really is to make parking and motoring more expensive. Then if you want to, you can use that cash to reinvest in improving the service to meet the demand that that creates.
Well, let's make buses specifically the topic of the next section. Yeah, 7:30, communique, and then we're going to carry on through the summer, having one Saturday a month. It's the third Saturday of every month we have communique booked, and we're going to do this, I think, this kind of format. So exactly what you're saying there, John. We're going to have a debate, a discussion, a meeting. There's no beer there, it's teas and coffees, but they're free. We have our own bag of tea bags, and it's honestly so cheap to replenish it, and we just buy a litre of milk and it does the job. So you're all welcome to communicate on Saturday. We're going to delve into plastic. Now, as I said just before we broke, we are going to, there's two modes of transport that do almost no harm at all. One does absolutely no harm when you walk, and bikes are really that long-lasting and ecologically simple enough to make. But I think the harm is negligible even to road surfaces and things. And so the true answer to the transport problems of Jersey, the long-term, 100% sustainable answer is walking and cycling. Are walking and cycling. And so we have to look at these. The more people we can get walking and cycling, the sooner, the better. Because a lot of the problems we're facing, massive healthcare costs of the ageing population, but this is an entire generation of baby boomers who got into a car at the age of 17 and have barely got out of it until the day when they end up in hospital due to lack of exercise, lack of circulation, lack of lung capacity and what have you, due to the sedentary lifestyles which has accompanied.
It's affecting the young as well.
Well, and then what we've got to do is we've got to get the people who aren't yet suffering all these sedentary health issues.
There's a growing obesity problem, isn't there?
Yeah, obesity and everything. We've got to get these younger people, many of whom, you know, your generation, you're not all older than me. You have to be older than me to be a true boomer. I'm just on the cusp. And we've got to get your generations and the generations to come out of these bloody cars before it kills them. Because we can't afford to keep on having these health problems with people in their old age. People should be dying a lot healthier than they are.
Got you on that. That's a lovely phrase.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's a real lecture. You're going to be dying a lot.
Johnny, you're very healthy this year.
I knew I was talking myself into a corner there. So, what have we got to say about cycling and walking? Kelly?
I'll go back to what we spoke about when we first met Nigel, which was when we were talking about the good old Boris lights in London. Victoria Avenue obviously has a cycle track already implemented. Why don't we have renter bikes on either side of the cycle tracks?
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people that could park at one end, could park at the burger bar, and then cycle into town, leave their bike in the renter bike space, and then cycle back to their car. And I don't understand why that hasn't been implemented
did
in
have
central
some
town.
I was supposed to say, have we got a green bike thing going?
No, but they didn't control them. You could leave your green bike anywhere, which would be lovely if everybody was socially responsible, but they used to just wreck them, and they used to leave them in the middle of the road, and they used to just, jump up and down on the wheels before they left them.
Yeah.
And
now
it's
you can
because
take
now you
credit
have to
card
take it
payments.
back because they've got your credit card number
Yes.
when you borrowed it. So you've got to take it back or you're going to get charged for it, and it's an expensive piece of kit.
But if we had rental bikes around the islands, so even on the railway walk, even if we had ones around there, that would just incentivise people that, hey, it's Sunday, let's go for a bike ride. Oh, I don't have a bike. Oh well, no worries, you can pay £2 and you can rent one out for as long as you want on a Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely, and again, they should not be costing a fortune.
No.
And there should be a sliding scale from two-wheel bikes that you have to pedal, two-wheel bikes that you have electric assistance, and electric scooters with four wheels that you can use if you're, totally disabled.
Yeah.
And they should all be lined up. You can choose.
Yeah.
If you fancy a cushy number, you can have the other thing.
Yeah.
And they should not only be at both ends of every cycle path. They should be outside every multi-storey car park and outside the bus station too, and the airport.
So just on that, so there is a bike scheme in the bus station. So
Yes,
there's
I
a
know.
bike scheme,
Folding.
and you can take them on the buses and you can continue your journey using them, and it's very inexpensive.
Is
There's
anybody
also
using them?
a bicycle hire place at the bottom of the railway track as well as a Dover.
Oh,
but I
well,
don't know
that's
what
the
the
thing,
rates
is
are.
the marketing side of things. Like, obviously, I didn't know
No,
about the
no, yeah.
railway track one. So I think if these things obviously do happen, like what we've spoken about, the free bus passes, the hopper buses, anything, you need to get the word out.
Yes.
Because we live in a different time.
And
Since
again,
when it did
the
happen.
states and the civil service, they have the budgets for this.
Yeah, and I
And
think
you
like
will
when
do the
you
guides.
trialled the hopper buses a few years back, and you said that it wasn't picked up, unfortunately. We live in a completely different time now with social media, with advertising on the back of buses. So simple things like that, and just getting the word out is something that's really important, because the amount of people that I've come across, especially in summer times, on days like this, I came across 3 people today that went, I'd love to go for a cycle ride, but I don't own a bike. And you're there going, just get this incentive out, get this rent-a-bike scheme out, where people can go up to St Mary, St John, wherever, rent out a bike and then drop it back off in town.
Yes, that's an important point. You haven't got to take it back to where you got it. These things that exist, you do have to take it back to where you got it, which is okay if you're on holiday for a week, and at the end of the week you can make sure you take it back. But the spur-of-the-moment decision to, oh God, I can't be bothered to walk it, the bus is not going to be here for an hour, I'm going to just get a bike and I'm just going to cycle it. And you should be able to do it on the spur of the moment, leave a bike at the other end of the journey and get them sorted out.
To add that, we've got Veolia to come over and have a look, and you'd be surprised and see it. And basically, the scheme is very expensive because you need a couple of guys going around the van, putting the bikes back into the right spot, and most of it's quite tidal. But what Eddie Knoll, who's our minister, so we did that, it was too expensive, we couldn't afford it from our budgets at the time, so when Eddie came in, what he thought was, how can we get people out of their cars, people who aren't cycling already? Perhaps that's the electric bike scheme, which has now been taken up by Guernsey. And that's quite an interesting one, because you're taking people who wouldn't normally cycle, who might. And the feedback we got from it has been life-changing for some people. We've got letters back saying, I couldn't touch my toes, I can now, I don't use my car. And so it has been very well taken up by that demographic you were talking about before, the people who are basically first-time car owners and part of that first generation.
Yeah. I think one thing about the electric bikes, though, and speaking from personal experience here, is that I was really interested in going on the electric bike scheme, but they're so cumbersome. The non-foldable ones, they're